Join me as we crochet this detailed Columbine applique and practice some fun new techniques along the way. Hi there, Jennifer here. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet the Columbine applique. The Colorado blue columbine is a striking wildflower native to the high elevations of the Rocky Mountains. Famous for their distinctive spurred petals, this hardy perennial thrives in alpine meadows, aspen groves, and forest edges, attracting long-tongued nectar feeders such as hawk moths and hummingbirds. Translating this flower into yarn has been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to share it with you. This intermediate level design features a layered construction that begins with a central flower worked in 4 colors. This transforms into a large 5-petaled beauty when the large petals are worked in the final rounds. Only 1 color is used per round. Throughout this tutorial, you'll encounter a variety of stitches and techniques, including making an adjustable ring, also known as a double magic ring, joining with standing stitches, working into the back bars of a chain, and working chain color changes, cluster stitches, double crochet decreases, and stitches of various heights. It's an engaging skill-building project that results in a beautifully dimensional flower. I'll guide you step by step so you can confidently take on each new technique. The Columbine is the 3rd pattern in my wildflower series, where I'll be sharing more than 24 wildflowers native to the Rocky Mountain region of the western United States. If you'd like to learn more about this project, check out the link in the description below. And if you'd like the written instructions for this flower, I'll also leave a link to the free pattern on my blog. Let's begin. For this tutorial, I'm using Cascade 220 Superwash Sport lightweight wool yarn in the colors lemon, mulberry purple, periwinkle, and ecru. You'll need just a small amount of the lemon and the mulberry purple, about 3 yards or 1 gram each. Then you'll need 14 yards or 5 grams of periwinkle and 5 yards or 2 grams of ecru. I'm using a size F5 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. You'll also need a pair of scissors, a locking stitch marker, and a tapestry needle to weave in your ends. To begin round 1, go ahead and grab your lemon yellow yarn and your crochet hook. We're going to start by making an adjustable ring, which is also often known as a double magic ring. So grab the tail end here, and you're going to wrap the tail end around your 2 fingers 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. And then you can bring it to the front and kind of hold it between your ring finger and your middle finger. That'll just keep it steady. Grab your crochet hook and insert it under the first 2 strands. Grab the 3rd strand with your crochet hook and pull it under the first 2 strands. And then yarn over with the working yarn and pull it through the loop on your hook. This creates a chain. It doesn't count as a chain in the pattern, but it does hold everything together and make it easier to slip the ring off your finger. So grab that chain that you just made and wiggle your fingers out, like so. And here's your adjustable ring. For round 1, we'll begin with a chain 1. And then we're going to work 5 single crochet into that ring, working over both of the strands. So insert your hook underneath both strands into the ring, yarn over and draw through. Then yarn over and draw through both loops on your hook to complete that first single crochet. Again, you'll insert your hook underneath those 2 strands into the ring, yarn over and pull through. Then yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook to complete the single crochet. We're going to do this 3 more times. So just to check and make sure we have the right number of stitches, I'll count back from the one I just made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're good to go. So to close this adjustable ring, you'll hold the first stitch that you made down here gently between your pointer finger and your thumb, and then take the tail end, which is over here. You're going to pull on that and watch closely to see which one of these loops closes or gets smaller. So pull the tail end gently, and you can see that this loop is getting smaller. So grab that loop that just got smaller, and we're going to pull on that until the other loop closes. Oop. Like that. So you see now you have this big loop here. We can close that one by pulling on the tail end again. So you can just grab the round that you just created gently and then pull on the tail, and that will close the other loop completely. That kind of locks everything in place. So you see the hole in the center is closed completely. To finish our round, all we have to do now is join, oops, get these guys in the right order. We just have to join in the first single crochet that we made. And just to make sure we don't accidentally join into the chain, I'm going to count back from the first one, or from the last one that I made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that one right there is our first single crochet. Insert your hook into the first single crochet, yarn over and draw through, and then draw through the loop on your hook to complete the slip stitch join. And that's round 1 complete. Let's continue with round 2. To begin round 2, we'll chain 1, and we're going to work a single crochet in the first single crochet. This is actually the same single crochet that you joined to at the end of the last round. So right there, single crochet in that first single crochet. Then chain 3. And then single crochet in the next single crochet. And chain 3 again. And single crochet in the next single crochet. So you're going to continue working a chain 3 and single crochet in each single crochet around. I'll just go ahead and finish up these last few here. So at this point you should have 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 chain 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. We just need one more chain 3 space. 1, 2, 3. And we'll go ahead and join to the first single crochet of the round with a slip stitch, like so. You can go ahead and take your hook out. We're going to fasten off. So just grab your scissors, cut that yarn, draw the tail end through the loop, and cinch it up to fasten it off. And that's round 2 complete. For round 3, go ahead and grab your mulberry purple or your dark purple. We're going to start by joining this dark purple with a slip stitch in any chain 3 space. So you can start by making a slip knot and place it on your hook. And then let's grab our work in progress here and just pick any chain 3 space. I'll go with this one. Insert your hook into the chain 3 space, yarn over and draw through. Then draw through the loop on your hook to complete that slip stitch join. Now we're all set to continue with round 3. Next we're going to chain 3. And we're going to work 3 double crochet into that same chain 3 space. So there's our 3rd double crochet. And then you're going to chain 3 again and slip stitch in that same chain 3 space. Next, you'll slip stitch in the next chain 3 space, which is right there. Then chain 3, and we'll work 3 double crochet into that same chain 3 space. And here's the third one. Next, chain 3. And we'll slip stitch in the same chain 3 space, so into there. And as you can see, we're creating petals. So again, working into each chain 3 space, you're going to slip stitch, chain 3, work 3 double crochets, chain 3 again, and slip stitch in that same space. So go ahead and repeat that sequence, working into each one of these chain 3 spaces, and I'll meet you at the end. So I've reached the end of the round, and I just have one more chain 3 to make. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'll slip stitch in this last chain 3 space that I've been working into. And finally, the last step of this round is to slip stitch in the slip stitch that we started with. So that slip stitch join from the beginning. Insert your hook into that slip stitch, yarn over and draw through, and then draw through the loop on your hook to complete the slip stitch join. Then go ahead and pull out your yarn a little bit. We're going to fasten off again. Grab your scissors and cut your yarn. Pull the tail end through the loop and cinch it up to fasten it off. So see how you have 5 petals created. And that's round 3 complete. To begin round 4, go ahead and grab your periwinkle. We're going to start with a standing single crochet or single crochet join. Make a slip knot with the tail end of your yarn and place that on your hook. And then grab your flower, and we're going to work this standing single crochet in the first double crochet of any petal. So I'm going to choose this petal here, and remember we have each petal is made up of a chain 3 and then 3 double crochets and then another chain 3. In this round we're just going to be working into the double crochets. So find that first double crochet of the petal, insert your hook, yarn over and draw through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and draw through both of them. And that completes our standing single crochet or single crochet join. Next you're going to work 2 single crochets in the next double crochet. Next work a single crochet in the next double crochet. And then chain 3. And then we can skip these chain 3 spaces. We're going to go right to the next petal and work into the next double crochet of the next petal. You can single crochet in the first double crochet of the next petal, work 2 single crochet in the next double crochet, and 1 single crochet into the next double crochet, and then chain 3 again, and we'll repeat that with the next petal. You'll work a single crochet in the first double crochet of the next petal, 2 single crochet in the next double crochet, and then 1 single crochet in the next double crochet. So I'm sure you can see what this sequence is now. Go ahead and continue that all the way around, working into these last 2 petals, and I'll meet you at the end. I've reached the end of the round, and I just have 1 more chain 3 to make. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to join in the first single crochet of the round. I'll insert my hook into that first single crochet, yarn over and pull through, and then pull through the loop on my hook to complete the slip stitch join. And that completes round 4. At the end of this round you should have 20 single crochet and 5 chain 3 spaces. At this point, we're going to do something a little different. Instead of fastening off, we can go ahead and remove our hook and place our hook aside for a second. Go ahead and grab your locking stitch marker and place the loop onto your locking stitch marker and lock it in place. This kind of holds your loop so it doesn't unravel. We're going to actually pick up this loop again and work with it when we get to round 6. But for now, it can just kind of hang to the back. Let's continue with round 5. For round 5, go ahead and grab your white. We're going to start with a standing double crochet or double crochet join. So just like before, go ahead and make a slip knot, and we'll place that on our hook. And then grab your flower, and we're going to make this double crochet join or standing double crochet in the first single crochet of our previous round. So you can kind of just hold the stitch marker to the back and that loop to the back so you can work into that single crochet. Yarn over with your working yarn, insert your hook into the single crochet, yarn over and pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops to complete that double crochet join. Next, you're going to work another double crochet into that same single crochet. So those are our first 2 double crochets. Next, you're going to work a treble crochet in the next single crochet. So yarn over twice, insert your hook into the next single crochet, yarn over and pull through. You have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2, yarn over and pull through the next 2, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. We're going to work another treble crochet into that same single crochet. Next, work 2 more treble crochets into the next single crochet. And then we'll work 2 double crochets into the next single crochet. For our next step, we'll be working in front of this chain 3, so you can kind of just ignore that chain 3 entirely. We're going to be working into the dark purple section, which is 2 rounds below, or round 3. If you take a close look here, you can see this is the chain 3 at the end of one petal, and this is the chain 3 that starts the next petal. And then we also have a slip stitch in between them. We're going to be working into all 3 of those. We'll start by making a half double crochet into this first chain 3 space there. To make a half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into that chain 3 space, yarn over and pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 of them. That's your half double crochet complete. We're going to work 2 single crochet into that same chain 3 space. So here's our first single crochet and our second single crochet. Next, we'll work a slip stitch into the slip stitch. It's like the first slip stitch of the next petal. Then we can kind of rotate our work a little bit because we're going to work into this next chain 3 space, which is the first chain 3 space of the next petal. Go ahead and single crochet into that next chain 3 space and single crochet again, and then work a half double crochet into that same chain 3 space. And then we'll return to working into round 4 at this point. So here's, again, remember we're skipping that chain 3 there, so there's our next single crochet that we can work into. We're going to work 2 double crochet into that next single crochet. Here's our first double crochet, and the next double crochet. So there's 2 double crochet. We're going to work 2 treble crochet into each of these single crochet, just like we did before. Here's our first treble crochet, and our second treble crochet, and then we'll work 2 more treble crochet into that next single crochet. So there's 1 and 2, and then just like before, we'll make two double crochet into that single crochet. So here's our first one and our second one. And then I was just going to walk you through working into these chain 3 spaces one more time so you can see how that goes. I'll do it pretty quickly. We're going to do a half double crochet into that chain 3 space, and then 2 single crochet, and then we're going to work a slip stitch in that, the first slip stitch of the next petal. So slip stitch in there, and then we'll turn our work a little bit so that we can work into that next chain 3 space. We'll work 2 single crochet in the next chain 3 space, and a half double crochet in there as well. Let's see what we have so far. You can kind of see how that looks. It creates these little white petals, or white ends to our petal. So you can go ahead and continue working in that sequence all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. I've reached the end of the round, and I just have these last 2 chain 3 spaces to work into. So again, you kind of just have to hold that stitch marker out of the way, and then I'm going to work a half double crochet into this next chain 3 space, and then 2 single crochet, and then slip stitch in that slip stitch, that first slip stitch of the round. And then I'll single crochet in that chain 3 space, single crochet again, and half double crochet in that same chain 3 space. So we're back to the beginning of our round, and here's the standing double crochet that we made to begin the round. We're actually going to join with an invisible join. To do this, go ahead and pull out your hook, grab your scissors, and go ahead and cut your yarn, leaving about 5 or 6 inches of a tail. Doesn't have to be too long. Yeah, just enough to be able to thread it onto a tapestry needle, because you want to grab that too. So go ahead and pull this tail end through the stitch. Just going to pull it out like so. And then thread that onto your tapestry needle. Now what we're going to do to make this invisible join is we're actually going to skip this first double crochet, and we're going to be working into the next double crochet of the round. So right there. Go ahead and insert your needle from front to back underneath those 2 loops at the top of the next double crochet. So again, we're skipping that first one, the standing double crochet from the beginning of our round and inserting our needle into the next double crochet. Go ahead and pull it through, and then you kind of can hold the tail from the beginning of your round out of the way. Pull it and pull your yarn around. We're going to insert our needle back down through the last half double crochet that we made. So just through the back loop there, I'm going to insert my needle into the middle of the stitch at the top there, and I'll go down through the back bar as well, like so. And then you can just cinch it up a little bit and see how it kind of duplicates it. What we just made right there kind of sits on top of the first double crochet, the stitch that we skipped, like that. It just kind of completely hides the top of that double crochet. And then I like to just weave in my end at this point because these things are kind of getting a little unruly. And I like to go with the thread that's on my needle right now. I like to go that way. And then when I weave this one in, I'll weave it in the opposite direction. That seems to hold everything pretty steady. In fact, I'm going to, this is all kind of a matter of personal preference, but I'll just show you what I do. I'm going to go back through the double crochet that we skipped, just kind of at the top here. Let's go here. And then kind of pull the tail end from the start of our round a little bit. And that should like cinch everything up a little bit. Yeah. And then I'll just go up and down through a few of these strands at the back of the white petal. We just want to make it secure. So I'll just go up and down through a few of these. Maybe one more. Okay. Now just to lock everything in place, I'm going to go through, insert my needle through the back loops of those single crochet, or of the bottom of the treble crochets and double crochets there at the base. Make sure I don't see anything from the front. I guess I just make sure I don't see my tapestry needle from the front, because you're just going through the back of the stitch, the back loops of the stitch, and then pull it through. And then to lock it in place, you can skip that, whatever last stitch you came out of, you can skip that one and insert your tapestry needle like through the next stitch and each of these other stitches you went through. Again, make sure it's not, you can't see your tapestry needle from the front. And then pull it through. And because you skipped that first stitch, it locks it in place, so it's not going to come through. You don't want to pull too tight. Just snug. Yeah, you don't want it to pull too tight or it'll start, make your petal bunched. Just so it's snug. And then you can trim that end with your scissors. And then I'll show you what I do to weave in this second end as well. Because like I said, I'm going to take it in the opposite direction. I don't know, for some reason that makes me feel like it's more secure. But I'm going to work down through the last, 5 or 6 stitches that I made in this round. So I'll go up through here, and then down through here, and up through here again, through the next stitch, and go down through this one, up there, down here, just kind of going across, I guess, until I reach another big section of stitches that I can weave my end through. I guess that's all I'm doing, is just trying to get to the next petal, because I know that I can go through these stitches here to kind of lock it into place, like I did before. I'll just insert my needle through the back of the next 6 stitches or so, like that. Again, make sure that your needle's not showing on the front, and then just pull that through. And just as we did before, I'm going to skip the first strand in this group and insert my tapestry needle under the next 5 strands or so. Make sure it's not showing from the front, and then pull it through, and that should lock it in place. Again, go ahead and remove your tapestry needle, and you can cut the yarn, and there you go. That is round 5 complete. At the end of this round, you'll obviously have 5 white petals. Within those petals, you'll have a total of 20 single crochet, 10 half double crochet, 20 double crochet, and 20 treble crochet. Let's continue with round 6. So now we can return our loop of periwinkle to our hook. So go ahead and unlock your locking stitch marker, and you can set that aside. Grab your hook and put the loop of periwinkle back on your hook. So in this round, we'll just be working into the chain 3 spaces that are in between each petal. This is the chain 3 space from 2 rounds below, which is also round 4. To begin, go ahead and chain 5. And then just completely ignore the next petal, and we're going to work into this chain 3 space. Go ahead and single crochet in that chain 3 space, and then chain 8. In this next step, we'll be working into the back bar of each of these chains. To find the back bar, just flip your chain over, and each one of these individual strands is a back bar. We'll start by making a single crochet in the second chain from our hook. Insert your hook into that back bar of that second chain from your hook, yarn over, draw through, and then draw through the 2 loops on your hook to complete the single crochet. And then we'll single crochet in each of the next 6 chains as well, again working into the back bars. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we are. So you should have 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that actually completes, we've made our first petal ray, which we'll be working into in the next round. So in this round, we're just making a bunch of long little rays coming out from the center of our flower. The next step is to single crochet in that same chain 3 space that we just worked into previously. So right there, make a single crochet. And then we'll chain 5. Let's do this one more time. So I'll single crochet in the next chain 3 space, then chain 8. Okay, and then working into the back bars, we'll single crochet in the second chain from our hook, and each of the next 6 chains, again working into the back bars of each chain. and then single crochet in that same chain 3 space. So now we have our second petal ray. So go ahead and continue working that sequence, making a chain 5 and then making your next petal ray off of that chain 3 space. Continue doing that all the way around until you get to the end, and I'll meet you there. I've reached the end of the round. I just finished my last petal ray, and I just need to single crochet in this last chain 3 space. And then you'll notice this is the first chain 5 that we made. So to end my round, I'm just going to slip stitch in the first chain of that beginning chain 5. And that is round 6 complete. At the end of this round, you'll have 5 petal rays, 10 single crochet, and 5 chain 5 spaces. Let's continue with round 7. This is our final round, and in this round we'll be creating the large petals that you see here in our finished columbine. We're going to be making these petals off of the petal rays that we made in the last round. To begin, we'll slip stitch in the next 2 chains of this chain 5. So here's my first one, and then I'll slip stitch in the next chain as well. And that just kind of gets us to the center of that chain, where, like where we need to be in the right position. Next, chain 1, and we'll work a single crochet into that chain 5 space. Next, work a treble crochet into this single crochet. Next, we'll be working up into the free loops of the chains, going up the petal right here. So all those free loops of that chain that we made in our petal ray. So we'll work 2 treble crochet into that first chain. This is my first treble crochet and my second treble crochet. Next, you'll work a treble crochet in the next chain. And then double crochet in each of the next 2 chains. And then half double crochet in the next chain. And single crochet in each of these last 2 chains there. So I'll single crochet in this chain, and I'll single crochet in the last chain. So that completes the first half of our large petal. And now I'm going to chain 3 and rotate my work a little bit so that we can work down the opposite side into those single crochet stitches. So I'll start by making a single crochet in each of the first 2 single crochets on that side of the petal. So there's my first single crochet and my next single crochet. Next, I'm going to work a half double crochet into the next single crochet, and then we'll work a double crochet in each of these next 2 single crochets. and then we'll treble crochet in the next single crochet. And then work 2 treble crochet in the next single crochet. There's my first one, and here's my second treble crochet. And then we'll work a treble crochet in this next single crochet. And then single crochet in the next chain 5 space. So that's right there. And that completes our petal. So go ahead and continue working into the unused loops of the chains of each petal ray and into the stitches of each petal ray, and then single crocheting in each chain 5 space. I'll go ahead and leave the stitch pattern sequence here on the screen for you in case that helps, but remember that the written instructions are available for free on my blog, and the link is in the description. So go ahead and continue that sequence all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. So I've reached the end of the round, and I just have one more treble crochet to make into this last single crochet. And then to end my round, I'll join with a slip stitch in the first single crochet of the round. And that is round 7 complete. At this point, you can go ahead and fasten off. So take your scissors and cut your yarn, and then draw the tail end through the loop and cinch it up to fasten it off. Congratulations, you've completed your columbine. I hope you enjoyed crocheting a columbine with me today. If you'd like the written instructions, you can find the free pattern on my blog. I've linked it in the description below. This flower is the 3rd in my wildflower series, so be sure to subscribe if you'd like to follow along as I share more wildflower designs. Thank you so much for crocheting with me today. I can't wait to see you in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more crochet techniques, tips, and tutorials, and check out the links in the video notes for more ways to find me and my patterns.